So, in other words, if there was no relationship, we're not going to... Yeah. Bi'u Mishnah Dalet. Explanation from Mishnah Dalet. Kohen Gadol lo yisa almana. A high priest is not allowed to marry a widower. Ben almana min ha'erusin. Over here, what's a widower? There's two types of widower. Widower, she was married, she had a relationship with somebody, or she never had a relationship. Oh. She's and he died. Even that he's not allowed to marry. Ben almana min hanisuin. Whether she was a widower before they had relationships, whether it was after. Bagmaran mevuar sheneemar bo. It says we just say that it's not. So why you Kohen Gadol you're so strict? Because it says there's a verse. The verse tells us to be strict specifically. And what does the verse says? Almana vegrusha lo yikach. It says a widower and a divorcee he should not take. Umedamim almana legrusha. And over there you put together a widower to a divorcee. Ma grusha ben min ha'erusin ben ha'nisuim. Just like grusha, she's a divorcee. Whether it is from kiddushin, whether it was from relationships. Af almana ben ha'erusin ben ha'nisuim. Also the almana, not from this. Velo isa et habugeret. And he shouldn't marry the bugeret. What's bugeret? Bugeret is adult. But 12 שנה ו6 חודשים ויום אחד. She's 12 years, 6 months and 1 day. היינו, 6 חודשים לאחר שהביאה סימני נערות. It's 6 months after she became an adult. In our time, after she had a period, let's call it this way. Yeah? 2 שערות. והטעם הוא, and the reason is, לפי שנאמר בכהן גדול והוא אישה בבתוליה ייקח, and he's a woman in her virginity should take, כשהיא בתולה גמורה, when she is a בתולה גמורה, when she is a complete בתולה, פרט לבוגרת שנתמעטו בתוליה. It doesn't apply to a woman who's already an adult, above 12 years old. So it looks like, according to this opinion, the high priest had to marry a small child, below the age of 12 and 6 months. Rabbi Elazar ורבי שמעון מכשירים בבוגרת. Rabbi Elazar ורבי שמעון says that's not true. It is kosher also in someone who's older. שמפרשים הם בתוליה, because they say, what's a betula? In other words, the word betula can have two meanings. The word betula can have the meanings of virgin, like us, that when you hear the word betula, it means a virgin. But in the Torah, the word betula, a lot of time is used for a small girl.
For what?
For a small girl. Anybody before a period is a betula. So the argument is, when it says betulea tikach, what do they mean? You mean a small girl or you mean a virgin? So the first guy says betula, the word betula means a small girl. The second one says no, the word betula means as long as she's a virgin. Afilu b'miktzat betulim. I know that she doesn't have the betulim of a small child, but it's called still betulim. ומכאן, אף שהבוגרת כשרה להינשא לכהן גדול. From here we learn that even the בוגרת is kosher to marry a high priest. ואין הלכה כרבי אלעזר ורבי שמעון. And the halacha is not like Rabbi Elazar ורבי שמעון. It looks like she has to be 12, he has to marry her between the ages of 12 and 12 and 6 months. Somewhere over there. Okay. ולא יישא את מוכת עץ. And he's not allowed to marry a woman who's mukat etz. What's a mukat etz? Mukat etz is someone who is, this is according to, I think this is even according to Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon. She can be 30 years old and she can be a virgin, but she doesn't have virginity. She doesn't, in other words, if you have a relationship with her, there will be no blood. That's a mukat etz. שהוכתה בעץ במקום בתוליה ועבדו בתוליה מחמת המכה. In other words, she doesn't have the... Yeah, there's not going to be blood over there if there's going to be a relationship. I wonder how it was done. Practically, I've never heard of such a thing. Okay, never mind. Now, Aras et almana. What happened if he did a rusin in a widower? Yeah, it says prohibited, but he did. He gave her kiddushin. Oh no. This is a Kohen idiot. Yeah. Beyoto Kohen idiot. He already was. She was a widower, and he gave her kiddushin. Then his father passed away, and his father was the high priest, and he's the older brother. So he now needs to become. He didn't get married yet. So now what do you do? What do you do with her? He became a high priest. On one hand, he had the rusin. So what does he do? Does he get the... How do you... ונתמנה להיות כהן גדול לפני שנשאה. And he became a high priest before he married it. Ichnos, then what does he do? He's allowed to actually... A כהן גדול is allowed to marry such a person. Ichnos מותר לו לשאתה. He's allowed to marry her. הולעיל ובשעה שקידשה קידשה בהיתר. Because at the time he made kiddushin, she was permissible to him. שהרי כהן אידיוט מותר באלמנה. Because a Kohen idiot is allowed in a widower. It's very strange, okay?
Very strange.
ומעשה ביהושע בן גמלה. So we have got to get an example of יהושע בן גמלה. שקידש את מרתה בת ביתוס. That he made kiddushin at Marta bat Baitos. Marta bat Baitos is the famous one with the story of Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai with the surrounded Yerushalayim. She was the daughter of the rich guy. You remember? This is Marta bat Baitos. This is the one that stood on the ground that says in Tehillim. The one that Kappa Anuga, when she used to work in the market, she was so rich. The people, the servants used to throw pillows. Yeah, and he didn't pick it up. That was donations for the poor. Yeah, that's how rich she was. This is Marta bat Baitos. שהייתה אלמנה, that she was a widower, ומינו המלך, so he did kiddushin in Marta bat Baitos when he was a regular Kohen. And then the king says, I want you to be Kohen Gadol. And then what happened? וכנסה. And we know that he married her. לאחר שנעשה כהן גדול, and he married her after he was already a high priest. מגמרא מדייקים מלשון משנתנו. The Gemara explains, it says uminahu. What's the difference if uminahu? You can just say, he became a high priest. That's enough. You don't have to say... No, at that time, yeah. I mean, it's not his job so much, but the king can do whatever he wants. Let's put it this way. It's good to be the king. ומינו המלך שלא היה ראוי לכך. That he wasn't, in other words, it wasn't the job of the king to do this minui. But he did it because, he's the king. He can do whatever he wants. אלא שמרתה בת בייטוס נתנה לינאי המלך סכום כסף רב. The reason why, because he was bribed. כדי שימנוע להיות כהן גדול. So the Gemara, it looks like the Gemara says, it's okay, but b'diavad. You don't do that from the beginning. In other words, if such a case would happen, what's the proper thing to do? Get another Kohen. It's true that you can do it. That's why it looks like from the Gemara. It's true after you did it, okay, you can marry her. But next time, do me a favor, just say to him, sit down, we're going to make your brother a high priest, or somebody else a high priest. It's preferable. That's what it looks like. Even though we will allow it, it's preferable. Okay. Shomeret Yabam. What happened? A Shomeret Yabam. Shomeret Yabam is a widower. You remember? If she's a Shomeret Yabam, she's a widower. Her husband died.
So what she's keeping?
What?
So what she's keeping? If her husband died.
Oh, wait. שומרת יבם שנפלה לפני כהן אדיוט. That she is now her brother, not yet.
Oh, אז למה היא שומרת? מה היא שומרת?
Because she cannot get married to anybody before Yibum Uchalitza. He didn't do Yibum Uchalitza yet. In other words, she's a widower, but the brother of her husband didn't do Yibum Uchalitza. The brother of her husband is a Kohen. He didn't do Yibum Uchalitza.
So the brother was a Kohen too. There must be one.
Yeah. The brother is also a Kohen. So they said the brother is also a Kohen.
Kohen can do Yibum?
Of course, what's the problem?
Of course.
Yeah. A Kohen idiot can do Yibum.
Idiot.
So her husband died when he was a Kohen idiot. He didn't do Yibum or Chalitza. Then he became a Kohen Gadol now. So the question is going to be, is he supposed to do Yibum? I think that's what's going to be. Let's see. Shenafla lifnei Kohen idiot, that he died, and now the older brother needs to marry her. He's a Kohen, regular Kohen. שהייתה ממתנת ליבמה. She wait until somebody is going to do either Yibum or Chalitza. כהן אדיוט שיבמנה. She was waiting for her brother to do Yibum. ונתמנה להיות כהן גדול. And then he became a high priest. So now, does he still have the responsibility to do Yibum? קודם שימה, אף על פי שעשה במאמר, even though he did the mimer already. There's a kiddushin. Not just a regular, without even a mimer. He said, I'm going to marry you in 6 months. שקידשה בכסף או בשטר באותו כהן אדיוט. This is from the rabbis though. הרי זה לא יכנוס. We tell them, do not get married. שהמאמר שעשה בקודם, שנתמנה, אינו כלום מן התורה. Like we said, it's only from the rabbis. It's not from the Torah. ואסור לו ליבמה עכשיו מפני שהיא אלמנה. In other words, the first guy was married from the Torah. This guy is only married from the rabbis. So we don't let him for at all. כהן גדול שמת אחיו בלא בנים. What happened to a high priest? Now his brother died, and he's the one responsible. Let's say there's only 2 brothers, and he's the one to do it. He has a mitzvah. So that's the mitzvah out trumps the Kohen Gadol. So they tell him, no, choletz velo b'yamem. You do chalitza, and you don't do yibum. You're not allowed to marry an almana. She's an almana, don't do yibum. משנתנו מוסיפה דין זה, המשנה continues to say this rule, כדי להשמיענו, in order to tell us, שאף על פי שבשעת חליצה יורק תאמה בפניו, why did he tell him? Because it's, it's not respectful to spit next to the high priest, אין חוששים כנכבודו, we're not worried about his honor over here, והוא צריך לקיים במצוות חליצה. Even though it's not honorable. The thing that it is not honorable because she is telling him, you're a loser. It's your responsibility to take care of me, and you don't do responsibility. It's not nice to say to the high priest. Yeah?
I can from the Torah. My hands are tied.
That's right. That's exactly what you say. But it still says, maybe you should say, don't do the procedure. It says, no. It's okay to do the procedure and go on.